I need a decent cup of coffee. How can I find one? I've got one right here. This is going to help me get through because I just finished watching the first season of Daredevil Born Again. Oh boy, here's my review. Well, hello and welcome back. I don't normally do these kind of things, but holy crud, guys. I just, as we speak, just finished watching the first season of Disney Plus and Marvel Studios' Daredevil Born Again. And holy moly, I gotta say, this was a really awesome show. Today, I want to do a spoiler review for you guys. So if you are not done with the show, you haven't watched it yet, you don't like spoilers, click away, okay? But if you don't care about spoilers, then stick around. Also, if you've watched the show, stick around as well. I'm going to take a look at each and every episode from the first season, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about my thoughts and my opinion. This is going to be a lot of fun. So initially, this iteration of Daredevil premiered on Netflix back in 2015. I believe it was April 2015. Here we are, 10 years later, and Daredevil Born Again is on Disney Plus, and this was one of the shows that, you know, a lot of fans wanted to come back, especially with the cast and the characters. It left a big significant mark on Netflix, and of all those Defender shows, in my honest opinion, the best, most captivating and compelling shows were Daredevil and The Punisher. Now, don't get me wrong, there's the fans of Jessica Jones out there, and I think that Luke Cage had a fairly decent first season, but in a whole, when it came to like the entire series run on Netflix, I think the best ones were definitely Daredevil and The Punisher. And so when Netflix pulled the plug basically on their whole entire MCU universe, because MCU really wanted to do everything Disney, well, that's why it ended. And these characters that Netflix established were in limbo for the longest time. And then it became a point where, like I said, the fans wanted these characters to come back, but mainly Daredevil, because it kind of feels like Daredevil never really got a proper ending. Punisher somewhat did, those other ones somewhat did, but Daredevil never really felt like it got a proper ending. Kind of felt like it ended on a cliffhanger. And so when Spider-Man No Way Home was released in theaters and we saw Charlie Cox return as Matt Murdock, we knew Disney was up to something. And here we are, we got Daredevil Born Again. We have the entire cast basically from Daredevil back. We've got Charlie Cox back as Matt Murdock, Daredevil. We have Vincent D'Onofrio back as Wilson Fisk. We have Deborah Ann Wall returning as Karen Page. Eldon Henson reprises his role as Franklin Foggy Nelson. And we also see the return of Jon Bernthal as the Punisher. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, Jon Bernthal, to me, I've seen all the Punisher movies made, and I've watched the Spider-Man the Animated Series. The Punisher is my favorite vigilante, right next to Daredevil. And I think Jon Bernthal is the epitome, the Punisher. I think he is the be-all, end-all when it comes to the Punisher. And we also have Wilson Bithell returning as Poindexter, aka Bullseye. Now, we do have some new cast of characters too joining Daredevil along for the ride. I apologize if I mispronounce her name. We have the actress Margarita Lavieva as Matt Murdock's love interest, Heather Glenn. We have the actress Janaea Walton playing Bibi Urich, Ben Urich's niece, who is also a reporter in the show. And we have Michael Gandolfini as Daniel Blake, son of the late, great James Gandolfini of Tony Soprano fame. And I'm not gonna lie to you, this kid's got a bright future. I think he's a very good actor. So now let's dive into the episode. So the first episode starts, we are reintroduced to Nelson Murdock, attorneys at law. They're in a bar celebrating Murdock, Foggy Nelson, Karen Page, and then Bullseye attacks the bar and fatally kills Foggy Nelson. This prompts a chase and a fight between Poindexter, aka Bullseye, and Daredevil, leading to Daredevil throwing Poindexter Bullseye off a roof. A year later, we see that Bullseye did not die, but he is being sentenced to prison. And so Matt Murdock has retired as Daredevil, and Karen Page has decided she doesn't want to have anything to do with this anymore. We see that Matt Murdock has a new law firm, and his partner sets him up with a therapist who becomes his love interest, Heather. Wilson Fisk runs for mayor of New York City. And we also have a meeting in a cafe between Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk where he lets Murdock know that if he wins mayor, which he eventually does, he's going to ban vigilantism. Fisk ends up winning the election and he meets with his estranged wife. So keep this in mind. It's a little tiny tidbit, but Vanessa Fisk has an affair and Wilson Fisk is aware of this, of the man she had an affair with. In episode 2, we're introduced to Hector Ayala, who breaks up a fight at a subway station, only to have them reveal that they're police beating up on a man. And one of the police officers in the ensuing battle with Hector falls off the platform and is hit by a subway train. And so Hector Ayala is arrested. Matt Murdock takes on the case to kind of find out what happened. Upon investigating more, Murdock realizes that Hector Ayala is the vigilante White Tiger. So it's kind of nice to see White Tiger from Marvel Comics, the first iteration Hector Ayala, be introduced into the series. That's kind of cool. We also find out that the police commissioner wants to resign because of Fisk becoming mayor until Wilson Fisk threatens him. So keep in mind the commissioner, he's going to come back into play a few times in the series. The episode simultaneously ends with Wilson Fisk and Vanessa going to couples therapy where Heather, Matt Murdock's now girlfriend, is their therapist. And Matt Murdock tracking down the corrupt cops who attempted to murder the man on the subway station to get some information, where it's revealed that they have Punisher tattoos, which is, I'm not going to lie to you, not really explained too well in the series, but more on that later. Now, episode 3 is really just a court drama trying to get Hector Ayala acquitted of what happened, which in the episode they finally do, but only because Matt Murdock had to pull the fact that he is White Tiger and convince the jury that he's helping people and he wouldn't do that. So Hector Ayala does get off scot-free, and he advises Hector, you can't go back out as the White Tiger because now you're gonna have a target. But Hector explains that it's his calling, he can't escape it. And unfortunately, in the end of the episode, Hector, going back out patrolling as the White Tiger, is shot in the head by someone wearing a Punisher symbol on their chest, which leads you to believe that it could very well be Frank Castle. Recovering the dead body of Hector Ayala from the episode prior, Hector's niece, Angela Del Toro, believes that the police are responsible for her uncle's death, and she confronts Matt Murdock about this, which he assures her that they will come to justice and find Hector's murderer. We then see Wilson Fisk and Vanessa in counseling with Heather, where they explain about, the affair that Vanessa had, that Wilson Fisk was aware of it, and that they don't know where the man went. Upon investigating further into Hector Ayala's murder, Matt Murdock discovers a casing with the Punisher's symbol on it, where he goes to find Frank Castle, and they get into a little bit of a word kerfuffle, where he basically tells Frank Castle that he should take ownership of what's going on and not let it slide, whereas Frank Castle advises to Murdock that he should have killed Bullseye for killing Foggy Nelson. So two different views on justice, and that's what I love between Frank Castle and Daredevil. I've always loved that conflict between the two of them. And then later on we see, I guess it kind of stuck to Matt because he starts to practice with his billy clubs. This is where we find out that Wilson Fisk has imprisoned the man that Vanessa was having an affair with, Adam. And we are introduced to a villain named Muse, who drains the blood of his victims. Episode 5, I'm not gonna lie to you, technically a bottle episode. It's a bank heist, and Matt Murdock is in the bank, and they're being robbed. It's on St. Patrick's Day, where we're introduced again to Kamala Khan's father, who is the bank assistant manager, Yusuf Khan. So it's just a whole heist, and I think this is what gives Matt Murdock the want and the idea to go back to being Daredevil. In episode 6, we're starting to find out about Muse, and it's being made public with his murals all over the city. This, as well, a lot of top people are against Wilson Fisk rebuilding New York City. So Wilson Fisk also in this episode builds what is going to be later on a big damper in the storyline, his task force to take out vigilantes, but most notably for now, to take out the vigilante villain Muse. Angela Del Toro is trying to find leads on her uncle, and she ends up at the wrong place at the wrong time and is abducted by Muse. And so Matt Murdock becomes aware of this, and so he puts the suit back on. Guys, Daredevil After 6 episodes, Daredevil's back. So Daredevil ends up saving Angela, and and they get her to safety, and she starts recuperating, but she tells the cops that Daredevil saved her and nobody else. And this is where Wilson Fisk finds out that Daredevil has returned, and this makes him very angry. So we find out that Muse is actually a young, troubled artist and poet by the name of Bastion Cooper, whom Heather is his therapist. So the whole episode revolves around Bastion coming to Heather's office, and then she finds out that he is Muse. So he knocks her out and he puts on his Muse outfit. And the whole episode again is technically a battle for survival between Heather and Muse. This is where Daredevil comes and saves her. The task force arrive too, however, Heather does end up killing Muse. But the heroics are pinned on the task force and not Daredevil. In episode 8, we are at the before last episode. Poindexter, aka Bullseye, he was placed into solitary confinement, but he's moved to regular cells. In this episode, Wilson Fisk reveals to Vanessa that he's in prison Adam, and she ends up killing Adam herself. Now, in this episode here, we have a ball that's going on. I think it's a black and white ball, and so Heather's invited because she's the therapist, and Matt Murdock is confused as to why. So this is where a little bit of the, rift between Matt and Heather happen. Poindexter escapes, not before killing a doctor and killing a guard, because Matt Murdock meets with him and he's explained to him, that he's not supposed to be there. So he beats up Poindexter, which leads him to go into to the doctor, whom he kills the security guard and gets out. Wilson Fisk is notified that he got out. Matt Murdock shows up late finally to go to the ball with Heather. We also find out that BB is speaking to the commissioner to get as much details as they can to get Wilson Fisk out of power. And then this episode, Poindexter Bullseye comes in to try and kill Wilson Fisk. However, Matt Murdock jumps in front of the bullet and is shot. The final episode, one thing I forgot to mention is that in the episode prior, we find out that Vanessa Fisk ordered the hit on Foggy Nelson. And so we kind of go back in time 18 months earlier to when Vanessa Fisk kind of forced Bullseye into signing a contract. Matt is now in the hospital recuperating. Wilson Fisk, however, cuts off the power because he explains to his head of security detail that a dead hero is better than a live vigilante. So he sends his head of security to kill Murdock in the hospital. However, Murdock does get away from the hospital, only to come back home and find Frank Castle and his partner, who's searching for a damn decent cup of coffee. This is where the task force invades Matt Murdock's apartment, and a whole entire battle ensues. And I gotta say, this was an insane battle with the Punisher and Daredevil against the task force. We finally find out that the person who killed Hector Ayala was one of the task force members, and it wasn't Frank Castle. Most of the task force members who invade the apartment end up getting killed until they find out that there's a grenade, because the task force member sets off the signal that Frank Castle is alive. So they leave the apartment and Karen Page comes back. They go back to Frank Castle's hideout. However, they're still upset because Matt Murdock is conflicted with Frank Castle's way of killing. And he explains to Karen that he did do what she asked him. So we find out that Frank Castle has been protecting Daredevil Matt Murdock this whole time. In an attempt to try and take down the task force, Frank Castle goes to them, and they unfortunately beat him up and overpower him. This is where it's revealed that the task force have Punisher tattoos because they are huge fans of the Punisher's work. So I guess that's kind of the explanation. And at the same time, the commissioner of the police, upon going home, is taken to Wilson Fisk, and Wilson Fisk kills him in the most brutal and violent way ever by crushing and ripping off his head. It's brutal and spectacularly glorious. It's one of the most shocking deaths I've seen in a TV show. Fisk ends up declaring martial law with a curfew at 8 p.m. that there's no vigilantism, it's outlawed. And so you find out that Fisk has captured all of his enemies, including Frank Castle. And so Matt Murdock is going to build himself a little bit of an army to take back the city. That's where it ends, where Daredevil, we get a shot through the bar where they're going to take back the city. And in a mid-credit scene, you see Frank Castle talking to one of the task force agents, and he's being humble. He's like, "Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you." He puts out his hand to shake him, breaks his arm, and you find out, okay, Frank Castle's gonna break out and break everybody out. And that's how the first season of Daredevil Born Again ends. So, let me take a sip of my coffee first. This was one hell of a fucking season. Now, I gotta say, Netflix's Daredevil and Netflix's The Punisher were amazing shows. And is it even possible to have something even more amazing? Yes, I really think that Daredevil Born Again enhanced what Netflix already made amazing. And I highly recommend this if you have not seen Daredevil Born Again just yet. Charlie Cox, again, is perfect as Matt Murdock Daredevil. Vincent D'Onofrio was born to play Wilson Fisk. And again, also Jon Bernthal was born to play Frank Castle, the Punisher. So I think that bringing these characters back, these actors back to play these characters, was like an incredible thing that Disney and Marvel could do. And dare I say this, to be quite honest with you, of all the Disney Plus Marvel shows, I know there's a big support, a big community who loves the Loki shows, but I think that this was probably the best Disney show from Marvel thus far. It's everything I was asking for, everything I was hoped for. It's just so brutal, and it was just brutally violent, the way it should be, as I mentioned in the title. Now at this point, we do have a season 2 confirmed, which is going to be coming March in 2026. And Hasbro already has pre-orders up for Daredevil and Punisher from the series. So if you're interested in getting those figures for your collection, the pre-order is going to be is up already. 100% I love this show. I think it's definitely worth watching. Out of 5 stars, I'm definitely, if I can give it this 6 or 7 stars, I would, but out of 5 stars, I'm giving Daredevil Born Again 5 stars out of 5. It is an incredible show. I think that even if you binge watch all 9 episodes, that's my only thing is that, okay, I will say that's my only thing is only 9 episodes, but still it gets the story across. And really the whole thing with the task force and the Punisher tattoo, to just explain that they're a big fan of their work, but it doesn't make sense because they want to kill Frank Castle also. So that kind of doesn't really balance out, but it's okay because in a whole, it is a great show. And like I said even before, James Gandolfini's son, Michael Gandolfini, is a very good actor, and he did a very good job in this show as well. But again, the core trio of Charlie Cox, Jon Bernthal, and Vincent D'Onofrio, these actors were born to play these characters. So 5 stars on 5. Daredevil Born Again, if you have not watched it, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? Go ahead and watch it. If you haven't watched the Daredevil Netflix series, you should watch that show before watching Daredevil Born Again. But if you've been interested, trust me, watch the Netflix Daredevil show, which is now on Disney Plus, and then watch Daredevil Born Again. It's fantastic, and I think now, me personally, I think I want to go back and rewatch the Netflix, the original Netflix version of Daredevil.
I'm just trying to make my city a better place.
Alright, so lo and behold, that's it for my review today. Let me know down below in the comments if you guys did watch Daredevil Born Again, what your thoughts on the TV show are. And if you have not watched it yet, let me know if you do plan on watching it. That's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around and taking the time to watch this review if you did. If you guys are new to my channel because you do like superhero-related content, or if you've been watching my videos for the longest time and you haven't done so already, please and thank you, subscribe to my channel. Click the bell as well to be notified whenever I got some brand new content out. If you enjoyed this review, let the algorithm know. Click the thumbs up button, and also, guys, share the video, share it with everybody. Let's get the review spread so that we can, have some good vibes and some likes and some comments on the video on the whole. All right, guys, cannot wait for the next season of Daredevil Born Again, which is going to be again in next year. If you guys want to see me do some more reviews, let me know. Maybe we can figure that out. Don't really do stuff like this. All right, get out of here for the day. I'm gonna get out of here for the day. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you all. Stay cool, stay nerdy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.